Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. With a single wave of his arm, Bai Lingmiao flew through the air and was caught by Dan Yangzi. He used a single hand to grab her neck and then threw her into the stone urn. Meanwhile, Li Huowang's heart was racing as he clenched his fist. Dan Yangzi had just picked up the heavy pestle when he stopped. Huh? Her period came now of all times? The composition of the drug has changed. Dan Yangzi frowned as he saw the blood stain of Bai Lingmiao's pants. Li Huowang sighed in relief. His plan had worked. Once he had understood a little bit more about refining pills, he had come up with this plan. In this world, the composition of a drug varied wildly even for rocks and herbs based on how they grew. So he assumed that a guiding drug ingredient, especially a human, could naturally be altered. With his limited knowledge, he somewhat remembered that a girl's menstruation blood was considered impure in Taoism. That was why he came up with a plan to fake Bai Lingmiao's period by smearing his own blood on her pants. Also, he had to ensure that Dan Yangzi noticed this personally so that the suspicion wouldn't be cast on him. Thankfully, everything went according to plan. It seemed that Bai Lingmiao was saved. Dan Yangzi waved his arm and Bai Lingmiao flew out from the stone urn, landing heavily on the floor. She hit the floor hard. She covered her bruised knees and could barely stand. Since Li Huowang couldn't help her in front of Dan Yangzi, he stood still on the side. Xian Yang, take this guiding drug ingredient back. Li Huowang silently sighed in relief upon hearing it. Yes, master. When Bai Lingmiao walked back to Li Huowang's side, he saw that her head had split open and blood was flowing down her cheek. However, despite her injuries, she was very grateful toward Li Huowang. Compared to death, such injuries were nothing. Thankfully, we were able to fool him this time around. It should take quite some time for Bai Lingmiao to get chosen again. Li Huowang escorted her toward the exit. Xian Yang, since she cannot be used, go and bring another. I remember that there is another one with albinism. Quickly go and return, we can't miss the time. Li Huowang's body shook slightly out of surprise, but he immediately turned and bowed. Yes, master. Li Huowang didn't remember anything about when he returned to the preparation room. He just approached a boy with albinism and dragged him out of the room. The boy screamed and cried, even begging for mercy while kneeling down on the floor. But there was nothing that Li Huowang could do. He could only drag him back to the pill room. After delivering the boy, Li Huowang was just about to leave when Dan Yangzi called for him. Didn't you want to learn the Tao of pills? Come and take a look. It's not every day that you would have the chance to observe the refinement of such a complex and rare pill. Li Huowang stayed and observed the entire refinement process, adding in the secondary ingredients and fanning the flames as requested by Dan Yangzi. When the flames finally went out, the furnace was opened. 7 black pills appeared in front of Dan Yangzi, organized neatly in a row. Not bad. Looks like you have some talent in pill refinement. The other disciples are not as inquisitive as you are. Come, this is your reward. Dan Yangzi took one of the pills and handed it to Li Huowang. Thank you for the pill, master. Li Huowang bowed toward Dan Yangzi as he extended both his hands to receive the pill. He had just swallowed the pill when Li Huowang felt a burning sensation from his dantian. The burning sensation intensified with each moment to the point that he almost puked. Xian Yang, go back and rest. This pill is quite potent. It will take some time for you to absorb it completely. Yes, master. He staggered back to his room and hurled a bit. However, nothing but water came out, the pill had already been absorbed by him. Soon, the sound of bones cracking filled the air as his joints dislocated and his body contorted. The burning sensation coming from his dantian spread out toward his limbs. His entire body was burning, almost as if he was wearing a sweater in summer. The heat from his body was making him nauseous. He laid down on his bed and saw the ceiling shifting in his vision. He remembered how everyone in the preparation room looked at him fearfully, as well as how he had now become an accomplice of Dan Yangzi. He had done what he despised toward the other weak disciples. While Dan Yongzi was illiterate, he was no fool. In front of absolute power, nothing else mattered. I'm going to kill him. I swear that I'm going to kill him. Li Huowang howled within his heart. In his delirious state, he grabbed the edge of the stone bed with his right hand. When he swore that he would kill Dan Yongzi, his right arm's veins bulged. Crack. The stone bed cracked under his strong grip. Li Huowang was surprised at the sound. He looked at his hand and then at the piece of rock that he broke. He quickly realized that this was the power of the pill. It wasn't just his strength. There were other changes to his body as well. He felt that his eyes could see even further than before. It was as if the pill had removed all the impurities within his body. But when he remembered how he had obtained this strength, he felt sick. "Senior Li, are you all right?" Bai Lingmiao carefully peeked in from the entrance. Li Huowang stared at her with a conflicted look on his face, not knowing what he should tell her. Bai Lingmiao stepped into the room. "Senior Li, please don't be mad at yourself. All of us know that you could have done nothing more in those circumstances. If Master calls for me again, you don't have to bother finding someone else. After all, everyone here will eventually die." Li Huowang didn't want to hear this right now. He stared at her bleeding head and took out one of the pills he had refined before. "Eat this, it will stop your bleeding." Bai Lingmiao stared at the pills in Li Huowang's hand and shook her head in fear. "No, I cannot eat pills. I must never eat pills." Li Huowang chuckled and threw the pill onto the ground. "Yeah, there's a certain amount of poison in it. In the end, it's not some miraculous medicine." Bai Lingmiao bit her lips and asked Li Huowang a question she had on her mind. "Senior Li, do you intend to fight back against Master?" Li Huowang's face paled and he immediately ran toward the door and closed it.